Before we catch up on Letitia, though, I do want to get the update on MC Baby Underbite. This was, of course, your alter ego on the set of Black Panther, your rapping alter ego. In this downtime of 2020, have you found some time to indulge in that side of yourself?
Funny enough, I keep having Ryan say that the streets need a mixtape. So he keeps messaging me that. So I might hit back the alter ego. I don't know.
Congratulations on your latest project. This is part of the Small Axe series from the great Steve McQueen. When I heard Steve McQueen had not just one film, but 5 films coming out, I was like, this is an embarrassment of riches. This guy knows what he's doing. Talk to me about what it's like to work with Steve McQueen. He's on that short list for most actors. What's a Steve McQueen set like?
He was definitely on my short list. Now I've ticked that off. So grateful to be able to tick that name off because I'm a student of his work. And being on set with him was, again, just an education. You know, someone that has worked on his craft for so many years, starting off in short films and his films being shown at prestigious galleries, you know, winning prestigious awards within his time. Being on set with him was just a treat, you know, and the fact of him trusting us and bringing his set together, you know, his cinematographer was on point, Xavier, just bringing those beautiful imageries and everything that was in his head and in the script to life. Just being on set with him, you know, seeing him work, you know, seeing him just be really passionate about stuff and just infuse us with just encouragement and just love and just seriousness too, you know, making sure that we stay focused on the craft and bringing our A game every single day. I had fun. I ate it up, man. I ate it up. It was so great.
In this one, there's a weird irony here. Obviously, you go from being in Black Panther to playing an actual Black Panther. That was lost on me, honestly, when I'm watching it. It took me someone else to remind me of that after the fact. Did that occur to you that like, okay, this is an odd confluence of events?
Yes, because the time in which I received the script before my meeting with Steve, Black Panther had come out that week, and I had decided that it was a wise idea to go and hide in Trinidad and Tobago, which is where Althea Jones-LeCointe is from, whom I represent in this film, Mangrove. And within that time frame of trying to get my head into an activist and a woman who was a part of the Black Panther movement in the UK, I also had people stop me in Trinidad saying, "You're that girl from Black Panther that just came out 2 days ago." So yeah, that was like a parallel thing for sure.
Bizarre. The universe was telling you something. I'm not sure what, but this story is, as you alluded to, it's a true life story. It's about these protests against this horrible police harassment at the Mangrove restaurant in London. You play this real figure, this leader of the British Black Panther movement. This is always going to be a relevant story. But again, this last year, the Black Lives Matter movement sweeping the world, my nation, your nation. Talk to me about whether this past year gives this film more relevance, more perspective for you.
The fact that we made a film last year. We went on set last year to make something that was representative of what happened 50 years ago. 50 years ago. And then we get to 2020 and Steve calls me and he's like, "Hey, we got into Cannes and it's amazing. We got 2 films there." And he says, "Art is imitating life and life is imitating art." And I'm like, wow, yeah, great. Wow, look at that. You know, wow, that's really something to think about. And we come off and I feel really sad that we just had to have that conversation whilst a man has just lost his life, for whom we are all, you know, feeling grief over and grieving over. And it was just for me a reflection of where we are in our society and a huge, like, banner that says, as a humanity, we need to get it together. Like, enough is enough. As Althea would say in the film, enough is enough. Let's just love each other and respect each other.
I mean, is it true that growing up, you actually learned more about the struggles with race about here in America than back home?
Yes.
And what does that say to you?
America is definitely a bigger country, of course.
Sure.
So you got more states and cities and people than us here in the UK. But it also says to me that the UK's way of doing things have been just underground, institutionalized racism. You know, you have all forms of racism in the US, and you're like, man, dang. But the UK, it's like under your skin, and that's more sinister.
Sure.
That's more hurtful. It's hurtful on all spectrums, but that's for, like, you could be looking at someone that's, you know, they're looking at your name on a job interview, and your name is not Smith, but your name is of African origins, and they're like, we'll call you back, we'll speak to you, yeah, and then they never call. Do you know what I mean? So it's So that, for me, growing up and seeing more of what's projected from the United States, of course, you know, it's a bigger land and you get more information. But in the UK, everything's hidden. Even the history that you should know about, even the good history, you know, of what Black people have contributed to this country way before 1940s and 1930s, and, you know, in the other periods that, you know, are not really celebrated, or we are thought of as being of existing in that time, which is silly, and not true. It's just hidden.
Yeah, I guess if there's a good takeaway from this year is we're on a worldwide level, hopefully we're kind of just more open about engaging with the ugly truths of our past, right? And just sort of owning up to it, hopefully. The woman you play here, the remarkable woman you play in this film, you know, she represents herself. She stands up for herself. And I'm curious if you apply that to your own life. I talk to a lot of young actors who struggle with knowing when to speak up on a set and knowing their own worth and knowing their own value. Is that something that you've kind of made strides in and learning, sort of like, yeah, I have a place at the table. I deserve to speak and say what I think should be done here.
Yeah, of course. It comes with time and experience, and also knowing yourself, knowing your values. And I always tell people that want to come into this industry, especially young people and young women too, know your values, know your yes, know your no's, you know who you are. And you don't have to come to the table with attitude or disrespect in sharing your opinions, or you can come with integrity, you know, and you can be firm on what is valuable to you or what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy. And you should be able to be in a safe environment to share your opinion. So I take that very seriously, of representing myself wherever I go, whether I'm on set or off the set, you know, whether I'm walking down the street, you know, if something's not good or someone doesn't treat me in the way that I feel is respectful to me, I should have the right to say, hey, that wasn't cool. In any sense, in every sense.
Is that part of the reason to start producing, to create films and environments in the way you want to see films made and TV made?
Yeah, for sure. 316 was birthed this year, in the midst of the pandemic and everything, kind of like pulling for your attention and pulling for you to feel fearful and for you to feel like all hope is lost. 316 Productions was birthed from also the desires of years and years of being asked the same questions of, what do you think, you know, could be the change within our society for the industry, when those questions need to be asked to the execs. For me, creating the production company is an opportunity to contribute positively, and not to wait for someone to hand me a script or hand my brothers and sisters a script, whether you're white, black, Chinese, don't care, you know, not waiting for someone to just hand you something and say, here's an opportunity. I want to go off with my friends and people that I love, create it, and create that community of people that we can work with and contribute great stories. You know, I love A24. I love what they do. So they're kind of like my template of like what I want 316 to be, with some Holy Spirit on it. You know, because, you know, A24 will be wow. You know,
truly, you see that logo, you're like, okay, it's gonna be a cool project, right? You know.
Yo, get ready for a ride.
Speaking of rides, I mean, I was along the ride with a lot of your cast on Black Panther, and there was such, you know, the what was the axiom? It was more than a movie; it was a movement, right? I'm curious, in the wake of that, you must have been approached by seeing kids dressed up as Shuri, to reference you. You probably expected it to a degree, but did it humble you? Did it shock you? Give me a sense of sort of what that does to you and how that affects you going forward.
Being a young teenager, having dreams that were phenomenally big, and my parents looking at me like, how are you going to achieve this? I remember writing down on my vision board, I need to get back a new vision board, because I had vision boards back then. Vision boards work, people. I had a BAFTA on my vision board, an Oscar on my vision board. I kind of got a BAFTA. I got a blue BAFTA. I remember writing on my vision board, I want to play a role that will inspire the next generation. Like, I want to play a role that's of impact to young people. I wrote that down. And fast forward, Shuri is representative of someone who inspires both boys and girls. And I think the moment for me that really humbled me, because sometimes within the industry you get a bit tired, you get a bit frustrated, like normal things nag at you and things try to take away your love of your craft. But I was going to Disneyland, and I was walking through Disneyland in LA with my friend, and this little girl ran up to me and hugged my legs. And I was like, whose little kid is this? And she pulled back and she had a pink t-shirt with Princess Shuri on it.
Come on.
And I was like, this is why I do this.
Yeah.
This is why we do this, because she didn't know I was going to show up at Disneyland today, because nobody knew. But she saw me and immediately was like, my hero. And I said to her, I love you. And she's like, mm-hmm. And I was like, be good. And she's like, mm-hmm. And she walked away. She got a picture. She walked away. And it was like, dang, she came to Disneyland with a Princess Shuri t-shirt. And she met Princess Shuri, like, dude. So that humbled me, and that made me just love what I do.
She'll remember that forever, that moment forever, as will you, clearly. Is there an actor you're itching to work with? Is there somebody I know you kind of chase Steve McQueen. Is there an actor that when you see them on screen, you're like, oh, I would vibe with them. That would just be amazing.
Off the bat, can I pick two?
Let's do it.
Viola Davis and Kelvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. Have you met Viola? Obviously, she worked with Steve McQueen on Widows.
I met her briefly as I was on my way to collect an award at the BAFTAs. And I was walking to the stage nervous because I didn't have a speech planned. And I was like, love you, Viola. God bless you. Real quick.
So you mentioned the vision board. What should we put on the vision board going forward? We'll talk a lot in the coming years. Let's check in on ourselves.
Definitely 316 Productions having a massive impact in terms of storytelling and impacting the lives of young people for the better with the stories that we tell. More leading roles, more traveling, family, getting married, you know what I'm saying? About that time for me. Getting married would be beautiful. And a charity, just a charity that will be focused on helping young people. I don't know specifically the capacity of that, but definitely young people being helped and nurtured.
Grammy for MC Baby Underbite first, or Oscar for
We
Letitia?
might try to, I think, the Oscar first, and then we'll go for the Grammy.
All right, that's a point. We have a plan.